Now, does anybody in here have a valid reason for leaving this classroom? Timothy.
I got to go pick up my daughter.
You're excused.
You get a whole lot of something with Farmers Policy Perks. So much, I'm going to have to speed things up. You can get the Farmers Signal app, and that could get you up to 15% off your auto policy. That's just for using the app and driving like the normal speed limit, hearing, full stop, making lane change, signaling human being you are. Get a whole lot of something with Farmers Policy Perks. Start with a quote by calling 1-800-FARMERS.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
The Armchair Quarterback Show. Weekdays. Coast to coast, Southern Sports Talk Radio. Your first choice for sports talk, live from the First Coast.
The mullet isn't just a hairdo. It is definitely a lifestyle. You're carrying on like a legacy, like your last name, you know? The people that did this in the 80s, they weren't doing it just because, oh, they thought it was a cool hairdo. No, they were doing it because they were badass. You know, if someone asks if you want extra mayonnaise, you have to say yes. This is bringing back like the Paul Bunyan. Men, we don't shave our legs. We have chest hair. But yeah, that's the whole lifestyle of the mullet.
Armchair.
Big news and the big games covered in the Big Ten by the Armchair Quarterbacks all year long.
Averaging just under 38 on 44 kicks this year. Nice high kick, got a little wind under it, and it runs Howard back. Oh, but it's a little look at that. Oh, my goodness. One man. Goodbye. Hello, Heisman.
Well, the ball is actually a little short of the 1 yard line now. It is 4th down, the final play, unless they can stick it in the end zone. Andre Johnson, Roscoe Parrish, and Kellen Winslow, and Dorsey under pressure. Throws it! Incomplete. The Buckeyes win.
They went to Hickman, and Penn State well-timed blitz. LeVar Arrington, the All-America candidate, came across.
Well, it was a great athletic play by LeVar Arrington. As you see, he times his blitz very well, leaves his feet, and hits Hickman in the backfield.
Big Ten football covered in the Southeast by the Armchair Quarterbacks.
That's the sound of NyQuil Severe hard at work. NyQuil Severe is the best sleep with a cold medicine. No tossing and turning, just rest and recovery. So you're ready to take on tomorrow. For powerful relief of your worst cold and flu symptoms, try NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hi, this is Britney Spears.
What up, this Jay-Z.
This is Jennifer Lopez. Armchair.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong.
Good morning. Welcome. Gators and Golf on the Armchair Quarterbacks. Tony Aguilini, how the hell are you this morning?
Great, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. We went to the Brad Paisley concert last night, so I'm a little groggy, but other than that, it was a very good show. Very good show.
Very cool. Was his wife there? Was the daughter of the father of the bride there?
Not that I know of. He obviously he was on stage the whole time. I never saw her. They did he does a good job of putting video backdrops as he's singing. Yeah. She was in some of those, which is cool. I don't know if I want to say she does travel with him though. I'm pretty sure that that's the deal. Cause she doesn't realistically do a whole lot of acting anymore. So,
it's funny. Like every woman under 40 that fell in love with that movie, she's at the top of, every time she's on TV, it's, memory lane time. So it's pretty funny. Those two hooked up, but I've heard he puts on a fun performance.
Yeah. And it's not just the music, but also he did a really good job of celebrating the troops and all that. I'll tell you what, for someone who may not like country music, the guy's one of the best guitar players in the world. And he did renditions of, oh God, what the hell is it? Van Halen's Hot for Teacher.
Mm-hmm.
That was just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, he just flat out shredded it. I mean, it was really, really good. And then a couple other things I'll get into later on down the road, but really good performance. I can't endorse going and seeing it. Now, his opening act, oof. I don't know who this clown is, man. Jimmy Allen, but he came out in a gangster do-rag, and he was kind of singing country, but he was dressed like a gangster. It was weird. It was really weird. I was telling my wife, I was like, I feel like Brad owes his agent some kind of favor because it's the only thing that makes sense in the entire thing.
Have you been to that amphitheater before?
No, that was the first time. We've obviously been to the facility in the area,
right?
You know, the Jags and everything. And my wife's already trying to see if she can get us tickets to go to the Jaguars Titans game in December, because we were in like some kind of I don't want to call it an executive suite, but for lack of a better term, that's what it is. Because it's a really, really big area for the top of level. And so the seats aren't like, you're not like right on the stage. That's not what makes it cool. What makes it cool is that the area that you can hang out in before the show and during the show is that it's this huge area inside with air conditioning, which was key because man, was it muggy out. I mean, I was just dripping with sweat, but definitely worth it for the show, but it wasn't worth sitting out in that heat for those two nobodies that I'd never heard of.
Well, it's kind of funny. They and we've been before. The biggest, it all depends on the time of year. Like this time of the year, especially after the storm, it's super muggy. There's not a lot of airflow in that place.
No.
And what's funny is they built that practice facility now that the Jaguars are going to use for like 1 or 2 more years while they build the other thing, and then they're going to rent the other place to, I guess, youth leagues and stuff like that. But now you've got that monstrosity that traps all that air into the amphitheater. It's there to block the sound too, but now it's going to, sit there and basically do nothing. So they blew a bunch of money on that, not knowing they were going to build a football facility too. So
yeah, I was wondering about that as far as where are they going to put that new facility at?
I believe it's pretty much going to be about where the practice fields are now. It's not something that'll take forever to build, but they've broken ground on it, they haven't broken ground on it. I think they're doing that here. They've got to get approval for everything still, I think. So once that's done, they'll work on it pretty quick. But basically where those Blue Cross Blue Shield practice fields are and some of that other area, and what they should do is move the fairgrounds out to the middle of nowhere on the west side out by Cecil Field. And like Jacksonville's the only like relatively big city that has their fairgrounds right smack in the middle of prime downtown real estate. Everybody else has it, where there's just a bunch of trees. And for some reason, Jacksonville's always had it right there in downtown. I mean, Dallas is maybe the one that has it closest to like other stuff, but it's nowhere near downtown. It's 10 miles away. So I don't know. That's probably a whole nother Jacksonville planning armchair quarterback show.
Yeah, I did see as we were heading in all the construction that they were doing that it was evidently for the shipyards. So that's right now it's like, who cares? But it is exciting to essentially see where it's going to be and all that kind of stuff. All right, so before we dive into anything, I do want to mention this because I think you kind of scoffed at it, but Florida Gators are 30th ranked in recruiting. And I get it that it's July.
Yeah.
But does that not concern you at all that they're 30th? I mean, they were 29th when I sent it to you, and evidently Purdue jumped over them overnight. I don't know what the hell happened there.
I was pulling it up this morning. I thought the same thing. I was like, man, you had us overrated at 29. Reality set in. They have us at 30.
Watching that long snap around 10 p.m. last night.
Damn. Time to get a 3-star punter or something. Get back ahead of Purdue. No, I am. I think the biggest concern with Florida fans is Mullins had the chance to maybe beef up recruiting as far as the assistant coaches go. He brought in Tim Brewster a couple of years ago. He's done well, but I think there's still some dead weight on the recruiting trail. I think the 29 ranking. It does bother me just because you would have some more commitments by now, and I think that's what's bringing it down. I think there's only 10 commitments.
That's what I'm looking at right now. Well, it's just to show the fact that they don't have the volume And then
Right.
the other thing that obviously is going to be just jump out at everyone is that the Miami Hurricanes are doing what they did in the 80s, but now it's legal. They're throwing money around everywhere. And so I'm expecting them to start skyrocketing. I'm surprised, but I don't think it's going to last that FSU's number 4, because I just feel like the season gets going, Florida State starts losing, and all these kids are saying how excited they are to come to the new regime. Are you really? Because you're going to have to find a special kind of brand of kid that is going to enjoy bringing them out of the ashes, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
The front runner kid's going to go, screw that. I'm going to Penn State.
Right.
I'm going to Notre Dame. I'm going to LSU. Although LSU, who the hell knows what they're going to be. But what I was going to tie into this was Miami became the first school. Well, Derek King became the first athlete to have a endorsement deal. And he did it with it's some kind of moving company. It's not really a point of it, because it's not like I'm trying to give them free pub. But screw them. But right after that, I saw that there's I think he's a car dealership in the Miami area, some kind of big business, and he's going to pay every kid at the University of Miami $500 a month to share money to share his business on social media. So basically, he's just giving them $500 because,
right.
I mean, is he really going to track that? Hell no. But this is what I was concerned about when this whole thing started, when they started talking about this, well over a year ago. And I remember talking to James about it at the time, and he kind of rolled his eyes I said, dude, here's the problem. There's going to be no legislation and no cap on what you can pay a kid. So where the hell does it end? And it's going to start tearing you at the seams. Now, this is back when we thought that the state of California was going to be the one, because they were the first one to start this. And I always say all bad things start and end in California, right? But at the time, I was like, if you think a kid's not going to go to Southern Cal or whatever California school, because they're going to get a chance to make money when they're not making money at the University of Florida. And he does see the world in gator colored glasses. So he was arguing. I was like, I'm telling you, dude, if this is a thing and they're doing it out in California and they're not doing it anywhere else, Pac-12 football is going to reign supreme. And so because of that, they're going to have to, and sure enough, before we ever get to this, they have followed suit. SEC, ACC, all of them are, the entire NCAA have followed suit, and they're saying, screw it, I guess we're going to have them pay. But where does this end, Tony? Because what is stopping someone who's just stupid rich with money? And we'll just grab an also ran school, not even one of the ones we're thinking of. We'll just say for some reason there's a billionaire who happens to be a really big South Carolina Gamecock fan, right? And they just start pouring money at. What the hell is to stop them? Because there's no legislation, there's no salary cap.
Right.
I mean, I think this is the death of college sports as we know it.
Yeah, you're right, because basically, for 10 years, the NCAA kind of like kicked the can about this, and we'll never do it, and behind the scenes, the states and everything, we're trying to put together rules, and you're right, like the rules are up to each particular school basically, and you know what that means. So like Florida put out their guidelines a couple weeks ago, and I was reading through those, and like, this is neat and all, but is this what they're doing at Georgia? Because it's everything's left up to the conferences, and like I said, the NCAA kicked the can, and then all of a sudden, like a month ago, they're like, you know what, we're all in, pay them, and we knew, we both live in the South, like we knew how that was going to go, like right away, and they have, they sent it to Congress, and a bunch of Yankee congressmen sign off on it, and it's different at Delaware. If the quarterback's gonna sell tacos or something and get $100 every month or something like that, but hell, here in the South, Lord knows what all these schools are going to end up doing.
God only knows what Alabama's going to come up with.
Yeah, and they don't even have to.
No, but they're going to, because they're going to look at it as, we don't want to be outdone by LSU. Right. We don't want to be outdone by. I mean, let's be honest, the Hurricanes. Who the hell knows what Florida State and Florida's going to drum up, right? Alabama's not going to get outdone. So you're going to have kids who are going to stay. The only good part about this is that kids are going to stay that extra year in college because they don't want to take a pay cut going to the NFL, right? They're like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, these guys have been leaving college to go not get drafted and be unrestricted free agents and, have to go out get a real job in a couple of years. Those are the kids that are going to, stick around. The guys that are, top 3 rounds draft picks, they're still going to go pro. But I think the other thing too, Darren Heitner is an attorney down in South Florida. He's a pretty good follow on Twitter just for some information, and he's pretty good at kind of ciphering through the BS and the misinformation that's out there. But he's also a publicity guy too, so he likes to tweet about Darren Heitner because he's Darren Heitner. So he had mentioned that he was working on something big for UF and some company or something like that, and nothing's come to fruition yet. But kind of curious to see what that is. But the UF guys, it seems like, at least from what's been retweeted, some of the guys have been trying to do like their own branding for like selling T-shirts and having like their own logo, and like the quarterback at Oklahoma. Spencer Rattler, he's got some new logo, kind of like Tiger Woods has, and it's got a little rattle on the end of one of the letters, like a rattlesnake, and that kind of stuff's kind of cool. He's going to get paid in the NFL one day regardless, so all this stuff probably doesn't mean a whole lot for him. But there are some funny ones. I thought it was pretty cool that I forget which school's offensive line. Oh, it's Arkansas. They got sponsored by a barbecue restaurant out in Fayetteville. So like some of that stuff's kind of neat. It's kind of funny at the same time, but the guy that owns the gym in Miami that wants to pay these players all this money, whether you're the starting quarterback or the third string linebacker, that's where it's going to get interesting. Like you said, it's Miami can finally do everything it's been doing all along. Now it's just legal, and now maybe it'll make an impact versus doing it for so long and still not winning the ACC.
What's that 2 Live Crew idiot's name? That's the first person I thought of.
Uncle Luke.
Luke. Yeah, Luke. I was like, oh man.
You can play some of his music as bumper music sometimes.
Yeah, it's like that dirty bastard. If he has any money left. It's
now bringing in Justin Waller, and it's like 2 Live Crew intro would be great.
It really makes you wish that Burt Reynolds was still kicking, because he'd get drunk and just start dropping.
That's right.
Dropping $1,000 bills out of a helicopter.
Every time Smokey and the Bandit comes on, Mackenzie Milton gets $1,000. I think Mackenzie's in on that moving company thing with De'Aaron King. I think they're both part of that.
It's a nationwide or Florida-wide moving company.
Yeah, something like that. And but I do think there's some benefits to it. Like I said,
I don't mean to cut you off, but I did find one thing funny. So they have I wish I would have screenshot it. They had Derek King on Fox News or Fox Business, and they were interviewing him about him becoming the first. And the name of the company finally just came to me. It's called College Hunks Moving Your Junk or something like that. Is it? So I mean, first of all, it's kind of gross when you think about, I'm gonna move your junk. But the point is that he's a spokesman for College Hunks. And they put him on screen. That is not a good looking kid, man. That kid is, man. He looked like he got hit in the face with a frying pan. And I was like, that's a hunk. I was like, you couldn't find one kid on the Miami Hurricanes that wasn't, a little more Zach Wilson-ish.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what he would have made in Utah? Because, I mean, good Lord, the money that's out there in Utah, and what he could have made when he was at BYU with all kind of endorsement deals. Holy crap.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy going back and talking about, and that's been a big thing on sports radio the last few weeks. Or guys that played before and what they would have brought in, and you think of the big names, but also a lot of the kind of middle guys that did really well at certain places would have done well.
Would Leon Cersei try to say that he wasn't already making money?
Right.
Because we know better than that crap.
Yeah, exactly. We weren't born yesterday, but yeah, like I said, it's it's Pandora's box is open, so we'll see what happens. I was talking to some friends the other day, and we were basically all kind of inconsistent. Like at least we were, we're all like early 40s and mid 40s, and At least we were around during the heyday. We weren't around when only the North ran college football, and we're around since the early '80s, so got to see everything in its heyday before who knows what's going to happen if it all goes to hell in a handbasket. At least we were around for the good stuff.
Amen to that. We are going to be sitting on the porch. Do you remember when the college actually cared and wanted to play, and they didn't have strikes? That's gonna be the next thing. I gave it the other day on Twitter. Like, I think 2023 for the first player strike. There's gonna be something that's gonna pop up that they'll refuse to play. Okay, the University of Florida going into the MLB draft, which is Sunday night. It's a little odd that they're doing it Sunday night up against the NBA Finals, but I do get it. And at least one thing they finally pulled their head out of their ass for. They've normally done this draft on like a random Thursday or whatever while they're also playing ball games.
Right.
And I've always thought that was odd because I was like going to get them to kind of focus, get a baseball fan to focus on the draft if there's baseball games on. Because if you did this like for football where the Jaguars are drafting at the same time that they're kicking off, it's weird. So that I do like in it. I do think that most people don't know more than about three names that are going to be in the MLB draft. But who's the biggest name for the University of Florida this year?
It should be Judd Fabian, center fielder. He's really good defensively, had a pretty good year offensively, kind of feast or famine. He struck out a bunch, but he hit a bunch of home runs, kind of like what Major League Baseball is in a lot of ways now. So maybe he's right up their alley, but he should be a first-round pick. Tommy Mace, pitcher for us. He was our Friday night guy for most of the year. He kind of alternated between Friday and Saturday sometimes. He's probably looking to be in a second round pick. I think just the first round is on Sunday, and then they go 2 through 5 on Monday, and then 5 through 1,000 the rest of the week.
If they are doing the full draft, I still haven't seen whether or not they're doing the full draft or not because
no, it's kind of like a compromise between last year. Last year was only 5 rounds. This year I think it's like maybe 20, and then the next year they'll go full bore.
Gotcha.
But those are the big two. Nathan Hickey's from Jacksonville. He'll be an interesting one. He's probably like a 3rd or 4th round guy. So there's an outside chance. Fabian has a little bit of leverage. He's the youngest player I think in the draft from like from the top prospect perspective. His brother's coming to UF next year. There's an outside chance he might, depending on who drafts him and what they offer, maybe stay one more year, but I think he'll go.
What we really want, what we're really pulling for as college football fans, Bubba Chandler is a shortstop relief pitcher that could be drafted around the time that the Braves draft, around the Judd Fabian area.
Mm-hmm.
In the early to late 20s. He is a high recruit expected to go to Clemson. Come on, let's draft Bubba Chandler as high as we can, get him the hell out of there. And this might be the first kid that says, I'm not going to pay for that when I can make a lot more money playing football at Clemson.
Right. Yeah. And it's, you remember Kyle Parker, he was from here, played quarterback at Clemson and gave up his last year for whatever reason to go ride a bus in Des Moines, Iowa versus, being big man on campus at Clemson. You're right about the timing of the draft. This is much better. I remember we were at a regional game years ago when in 2017 when Alex Faedo got drafted in the middle of a baseball game and somebody sitting a few rows behind. They knew what was going on, but somebody a few rows behind the dugout kind of told everybody around us. So but that whole thing's always been weird where you can get drafted literally in the middle of the college
the week of the College World Series is the other thing that sucks.
And that year is a little bit earlier, but it used to be like, Wednesday of the first week of the College World Series. It's crazy.
Right.
And then,
because I can remember my dad, God rest his soul, getting so mad Florida State would be in the College World Series. And the news would break that some kid got drafted. Now, why the hell is he even going to want to play now?
Yeah, it was always a weird dynamic. They've either college baseball has finally become a big enough boy where they've separated the two, or this is all just because of COVID and it'll go back to what it was. But I think this is good timing. It's before the All-Star game. It's after college baseball is over with, and they're playing games right now, obviously, but it's a good time for them to actually have the draft. Hopefully they'll stick with it.
All right, we're starting to run out of time, so go ahead and give me your take on the John Deere Classic as we walk this off.
I think the coolest thing about this tournament is if the winner hasn't already qualified, they basically win and hop on a jet and go to the Open Championship. So I always kind of root for an underdog here. It's a good place for some of these young guys to get their first win. I think Jordan Spieth's first win was at the John Deere, either his first or his second. But it's a kind of a cool leaderboard. There's a couple familiar names, guys that haven't won in a while. Chesson Hadley, who was the leader a few weeks ago in a tournament, he's up there again. Camilo Villegas is a name familiar to Florida fans. He played golf at UF, and he's been through a lot in the last few years. So it'd be cool to see him equal out.
This is like pulling up the futures, like AA rosters.
Yeah, it's one of those tournaments. A lot of guys skip it. A lot of guys are playing in the Scottish Open or the Irish Open this weekend. Euro Tour is fun this time of year because you go Irish Open, Scottish Open, and then the British next week. So it's 3 weeks in a row where like the Rorys of the world and John Rahm and those guys all typically play. So there's morning golf, there's afternoon golf, and then you mentioned the senior US Open, which I'll usually watch if it depends on the course. This is in Omaha. I've never heard of the course before and I don't know it. So I'll probably maybe watch it off and on. But the Euro Tour in the morning and John Deere in the afternoon will be for some good watching. Like I said, you're not watching to go see big names win the John Deere. It's all about, like you said, it's a futures game, and the winner.
Brandon Hague pulling up the. I was like, what am I looking at? Where are the names at? I didn't realize that the Irish Open was going on. So
yeah, a lot of those guys are over there, and they'll go goof off at Royal St. George and get some practice in, and we'll have that next weekend already.
Must see TV on Sunday. Doug Jim is going up against Ryan Moore, possibly for the huge, man, huge. I don't even know why they even try to put the MLB draft on during this. People are going to be, tailgating and everything.
Well, and I don't know why they put the NBA Finals that night because everybody's going to be so drained from the John Deere Classic.
I know, man. Like I don't even understand this. I mean,
it's crazy.
I mean, I'm going to go ahead and turn all my pool water off because there's no point because me and my wife are going to be locked.
Just drain it.
Yeah, there's no way we're gonna watch any of this other junk if this is going on.
I love it.
All right, brother. We will see you next week, and it'll be for the Open. Do you want to do it the day before, like we did last time, so we can pre-do the?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right. So we'll see you next Wednesday.
All right, man. Go Italy.
All right, man. Go 2 Live Crew, man. They're gonna bring a championship back to Miami.
There you go. Have a good one.